Hi, welcome back to Visit Villegas. We are making, now don't get mad at me if I butcher this, Croque, Monsieur. I'm zero French in my bones in my body, and I'm much better at things along the Spanish route for pronunciation. But if you love the movie, it's complicated. It's a staple portion of that movie, one of the best scenes. And I thought it would be fun. Felt like it was very fitting for the Martha and Marina series that we're doing in the month of January. So if you're unfamiliar with me saying Martha and Marina, maybe this is the first video of mine you've seen. I am not a cooking channel, but I thought it would be fun to take the first month this year to try and live like Martha Stewart. So one of the things we're doing is making a Martha Stewart recipe, and we're gonna do it together. I've stated before in some of my other videos that I don't like to give exact measurements for the recipes I'm using, but I will leave all the recipe links in the show notes because I'm a firm believer in protecting other creators' works, because I know how that feels for other people to use your work as their own. So that is what I want to avoid, and let's get cooking. All right, we're gonna start with, I've got the oven preheated already, and we're gonna start with buttering a baking sheet. Now this has been sitting here, so it's actually a little bit hot. I think that the butter will go on pretty smooth. I also would like to say, even though I just made a disclaimer about not giving measurements, that this recipe does not have many measurements. I don't think it's quite so specific. All right, we'll be making essentially, it's basically like 4 baked sandwiches. And I don't really like ham. I usually swap this out for turkey the one time that I made it, but I'm doing something different. So I'm wanting to abide by the recipe a little bit more when I can, because I do, you know, have to make alterations here and there because I have a couple allergies. Okay. All right, this is ready. And then in a saucepan over medium heat, we will add flour, melt butter. That's about 2 tablespoons, so we'll use this. Okay, so once this is melted, we'll add the flour, and then we will whisk the flour until it is foaming. I love butter. I love butter so much. So many people do, though. The right kind of people love butter. That is one of my goals this year, is making my own butter, which I should try to do soon, probably like this week or next. Okay, so this recipe also calls for another, I think this is a French word, gruyere. Okay, I've got the butter melted in the saucepan, and now we're going to add flour until foaming. So here's the flour. I am going to whisk it in there. And I'm going to return it to the heat so that way I think you have to constantly stir this, but yeah. Okay, so this is going to take, it says about 3 minutes. Okay, we're at about, I spilled some. Okay, we're right at like 3 minutes, and it's basically like, okay. Now we're gonna put milk in a saucepan. 2 cups of milk. All right, how long do you think that would take? It's gotta be like another minute, I would guess. While I wait for the milk to get warm before adding it to our flour mixture, I guess this is a good point to let you guys know that, like I was saying earlier, I don't specifically do always and only cooking, although I am happy to do that in parts of our channel, but this is very much so a lifestyle page where you'll see either me working on our house and trying to make it more of a home, which is really like my favorite zone But cooking and baking, I also very much love and have for, gosh, since I was like a teenager. Baking specifically, and then it's grown to cooking ever since I got married. And then let's see, I do like crafting as well. I have a lot I feel like that I vibe with when it comes to Martha Stewart, so that kind of felt fun because she also does live a little more hardcore than I was, and I feel like that was a fun way to do things that would be within my skill set but still challenging and things I hadn't tried yet before. We're going to give that like another minute. A couple other things about me. I am a first-time mom. I have an almost 1-year-old. He'll be 1 in March, which is so crazy to think about. And then I've been married for almost 7 years. We've been together for almost 8. And I've been content creating full-time for 2 years now, which is great. I was just thinking about this today. I was made for content creating. When I think back onto childhood memories or things that would catch my attention as a kid and a teenager, I feel like this fits me so well in my, again, like skill set and things that I just naturally love. So I'm thrilled that I get to be a content creator. I am celebrating 2 years of content creating in January as well. That's full time. I've been creating content for quite some time now. But doing it for myself to this degree is newer for us, and I love that. All right, I'm going to say that this is done because we got some steam coming out. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit to this mixture. Okay, we're going to add a little bit at a time and whisk it up so that we don't get lumps, which I feel like now looking at it, I'm like, that feels impossible. That's what the whisk is for. All right, a good first layer. Let's add a little bit more milk. I also just hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is so fun because I normally post more content on TikTok and Instagram. Like many people, I started on TikTok and my other accounts have grown from there. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, we're kicking. Nice. That's nice and smooth. This would be a lot easier if I was not filming, but here we are. I used to flip furniture full time. This was me about like 4 years ago now, I guess. But I don't want to say suffer because that sounds way too. I struggle with carpal tunnel, so sometimes my hands get stuck when I'm doing certain tasks. But I regularly pray that that goes away and my strength comes back. So if you want to join me in that, I will appreciate your prayers. Okay, nice. Okay, this is looking really smooth. All right, and the last little bit of milk, which now I'm realizing I probably should have used the larger pan for this part because I got to add all the cheese. It's crazy actually how there's not that much flour in this, but it consistently is helping it to come back to a thick state. All right, and we're just at about thin and smooth, like we were meant to be. All right, you're supposed to have your cheese grated for this, but I do not have a cheese grater. I have a zester and one of the slicer things. All right, here comes some cheese. This is the Gruyere. And yeah, if it was in smaller bits, it would definitely melt more easily. I might need to return this to heat. I don't know if we're supposed to do that though. Oh, you are. We're supposed to cook this. Okay. And then we're also supposed to, and she says it so like actually not matter of fact with like how much to add to these things. But we're doing some nutmeg. It's supposed to be cayenne, but I only have paprika. And it's supposed to be white pepper, but I only have black. Okay, I'm going to return this to the heat for a little bit so that way this cheese can melt down. Okay, this sauce is now all thick and ready for the sandwiches later. Let's get to the next step. So we got to set that aside. Now we're going to do, we're supposed to transfer it to a bowl to cool, but what's the point? We'll just leave it there. Now we're going to bring up the pan. I did have to stop at Trader Joe's for some brioche bread because I didn't have any. Plus, brioche bread is so good. Okay, interestingly enough, it has parchment paper on it. I bet people have eaten that on accident. There's no way. Okay. Smells divine. Divine. The last time I made Croque Monsieur, should I just say Croque Monsieur? Croque Monsieur. Now we're gonna take some of our sauce. And I wish that, I'm gonna scoot y'all down so you can get a better view of this. You're supposed to do a pretty good amount of the sauce on each slice. I hope that this large spoonful is enough. I think so. That looks fairly accurate. I feel like looking at the sauce, it's like there's no way we're going to use all that. So I'll be very surprised if we do. All right, now we got to add a slice of cheese, slice of ham, and cheese. Oh my gosh, it's cheese. Wow, okay. So cheese, and I don't have a perfect thingy for this, so my cheese is all piecey, which I think is okay. I think it's all right if it's not so perfect. Because what is, all right, and then I stated this in my last video that I did on mac and cheese, that, you know, watching the Martha Stewart documentary, like so many of us did back in October, and then also watching, should I do a little less, like half? Because I think I'm gonna do half. Oh my goodness, wait. Nice. More cheese. What I was saying was, after watching Martha's documentary, she got so much criticism for being a perfectionist. And then whenever I've been watching her cooking shows and stuff, getting ready for this week, I feel like that's not the best word for her. If we're talking about food anyways. Not that she doesn't make good food. It's just she seems to be so, she'll say about this much. It doesn't seem so strict when it comes to food. And I kind of expected her to be more like, only use this. Don't ever use more than what the recipe calls for. And because, you know, not every large egg is exactly the same amount, I feel like that just kind of gives you a little bit more room. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like the guy from Hell's Kitchen, he seems extreme. Like he seems like follow the recipe kind of guy. All right, we added 4 more slices of bread, and then we're gonna more sauce. I must not have used enough sauce. Maybe we'll do 2 scoops. Definitely using a lot more of the sauce now. Okay, and if you're wondering, this is almost an entire brioche bread loaf of bread. So if you were gonna make it for a lot more people, just an FYI. All right, spread each sandwich with more sauce and then sprinkle with more of your cheese. And because I, again, don't have a cheese grater, we're going to use these sort of piecey slices throughout the rest of these sandwiches. Okay, we're going to bake this now. We're going to bake this for 5 minutes. And I'm going to clean up while I let that bake. Only regret I have on this is that I did not add more ham. Like, I only thought about how big it was on the piece of bread and not how much like protein you're getting with your meal. I'll probably just add it to the side or like toss it on top, to be honest with you. Timer is about to go off for these sandwiches for their 5 minutes, and I'm gonna broil it for a couple more minutes, and I have to watch it very intensely because we don't want it to burn. Let's broil these sandwiches. I actually don't think I've ever used the low broil setting before, but I have burned things with our broiler before. Even though it's an electric oven, I definitely underestimated its ability. So we're gonna keep a close eye on that. I've got my light on so I can at least see how it's going. It's definitely one of those things you don't want to burn, because like burnt veggies I think are kind of good, but like burnt bread and cheese, it's gonna burn your mouth. With so much sauce and cheese, I'm not surprised that you use such a thick bread to help it to stay its shape. Okay, I think it's starting to look really good. I'm just gonna do like another 30-ish seconds because I can tell this left side's getting more toasty than the right where the light is. Okay, I'm gonna check. Oh, we're so close. Like another 30 seconds, I think. Okay. The bread was starting to burn, but the top was not getting as melty, but this is how it's looking. All right, I have 4 Croque Monsieurs, and I'm gonna heat up some veggies and eat dinner. I'm gonna eat this with a side of Dijon mustard because I feel like that's what I've seen a lot of people do, even though it doesn't call for it in the recipe book. And for fun, I'm gonna dress it up with a little bit of spices. Cuties. All right, let's plate it up. Meryl's Troops was much thinner than this, and it's complicated, but this is nice and steamy, and it looks pretty good. On the other side, thanks for hanging out with me and making dinner. I hope to see you guys soon, and don't forget to check out our other channels where we have lots of different content going. Hope to see you soon. Bye.